name is Idris, and happy New Year. Happy 2024, everyone. I want to thank you so much for keeping it right to our YouTube channel where we share with you different tourism business tips. It's 2024 right now. But before, I want to thank you again. This year we want to promise you that we are going to bring new topics and we'll be sharing quite a number of things. So as we bring the first episode to you this 2024, so I want to give you confidence that you are going to learn a lot from us this time round, right? Well, we want to give you some insights on a number of things, especially those that are already in business, but also for those that have actually dreamt to start doing tourism businesses, especially the line of tour operations. A number of businesses within the tourism industry, they are profitable, right? Among which we've got the tour operation businesses, call it the safari operations. And here we come with some meaningful terms. This is how we start the year. So we will be coming to you as we share and make you understand some of the meaningful key terms and how they are applied in the tourism businesses. Because we are looking at a better organization of your company, right? So we want to start with the minimum number. I think if you read some of the key notes, for example, if someone is going to do a particular activity, I'll give you an example. For someone to do canopy walk in Nyungwe, right? This happens in Rwanda. Minimum number, 2 people. If someone is to do a night game drive in probably Akagera National Park using the Akagera Management Company vehicle, are we together? Is minimum 3 people. And this is what we want to look at, minimum number. What does that mean? So whenever you see the term minimum number, it means that you have to meet the required minimum of people, the price of what the minimum would pay if you do not have the required number of people. I'll give you an example so that you can understand. I have told you minimum number of people to do canopy walk are 2 people, right? And canopy walk is $40. If you have 2 people, each pays 40. What happens if you have 1 person? The minimum number policy will apply. So 1 person will pay 80. Are we together? If they say minimum number for a flight flying from Entebbe to Kidepo is minimum 7 people and you have 4 people, what you need to do in your quote or in your costing, now this is for starters as well as for those that are advanced in this business, you have to meet, the 4 will pay a price of 4 plus the 3 seats. That's what the minimum number means. I hope you have learned that. The minimum number gets out of play when you have the required number. If minimum number of a particular experience is 4 and you have 5 people, that means per person rate will apply. Together? Good. I hope you've learned that in 2024. This year is to teach you something new. Every day, get time to learn something new. Trust me, you will grow. 2, let's look at the full board. The key word, full board. In tourism or tour operation, we use full board to mean breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But this is the perception that we want to bring in, full board. If your clients are going to have lunch at the lodge, right, and they are going to have dinner at the lodge, and tomorrow breakfast at the lodge, it means they have had the full board rate. But if your clients are going to do an activity at probably, and they will return at the lodge for lunch before they leave that lodge or check out from the lodge, that lunch for tomorrow will be paid separately. In other words, you have to quote for it. Because they had lunch previous day, and they had dinner that night, and they had breakfast that morning. But full board would mean that these clients, if they missed lunch from the lodge, and rather start with dinner, breakfast, so when they go do an activity and they are back to their lodge, they will have lunch so that they can compensate the lunch that they didn't have yesterday. In other words, you don't have to quote separately for that lunch. So here the essence is for you to understand, if I have clients having lunch at the lodge, at the same time they are going to have dinner at the same lodge and tomorrow's breakfast, when it happens to get lunch to find them at the lodge, will I have to pay separately or quote for that lunch, or I will consider it on a full board rate? So in other words, they cannot have two lunches on a full board rate, but rather one lunch, one dinner, breakfast, and then anything beyond that, say lunch, will have to be quoted for. I hope you've learned that as well. Full board arrangement. Lastly, we're looking at the mistakes. I'm just pulling out something. This is how we are starting 2024. We are learning. And reflect on these points that I have raised, because I have probably received a number of quotes, right, from the public. And if I say the public, this could be you. Mistakes in costing. Now, these are light mistakes, but we must observe them. I'll give you an example. 600 and 6,000 are two different figures. Some of you are using manual costing methods. You have a book and you're writing. That's manual. Probably you're not using Excel. But even when you're using the automated way of costing, you must be very vigilant on this. 600 is different from 6,000. When you do 600 and you're meaning 6,000 is a big loss, about a difference of $5,100. You must be able to detect such a mistake. So is if you're looking at 600 and you write 6,000. This happens so much. For example, for someone who is costing gorilla permits in Uganda, each is 700. Because you're faster, you're not so keen, you have 10 people, instead of writing 7,000, you write 700. You may have one person doing gorilla trekking, and you're so fast and not so keen, instead of doing 700, you're doing 7,000. So you can be able to detect these mistakes. So I wanted to pull out that as the biggest mistake. Though some people find it light, it can lead you to a very huge loss. You cannot run that safari while you are in a loss because you wrote either lower figure and you're unable to detect. So be very keen on figures that look almost the same. For example, 747 is different from 474. So be able to place right figures in your quotations, right? Those are some of the tips that I wanted to share with you at the start of 2024. So I want to say, I hope you've learned. And one thing I want to remind you, for everyone that is looking forward to join this tourism industry, especially the safari operation business. We've got a very lovely service. We introduced it to you last year, what we call the benchmarking service. You come, sit with us in our office for 2 months. You work with us. You benchmark from us. You will learn a lot of things from invoicing, itinerary development, quotations. In other words, you're going to learn the entire game of how to do tour operations. 2 months, you pack your bags, you go back to your company, and trust me, you've learned a lot from management to market approach. I hope you've learned something today in our session. It's 2024. Let's think so big. If you have any questions, please feel free to put it in our comment section and we'll pick it up. I want to thank you so much for keeping up our YouTube channel, and please don't forget to follow us on our social media handles. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, and we're on Facebook. Thank you, and I want to see you in our next video. Bye-bye.